Welcome, everybody. It's FaceTime. Tim Fazenbaker here. I got the pleasure to speak with a young man today that has inspired the nation and made people like myself and many others wake up to something we haven't thought about since we've been in school. And that is the fact that the public schools are required to have an American flag in each classroom. And when I saw this story first break, and I saw that this young man who actually stood up and asked that question ended up getting suspended because of this. When he said, why aren't flags in certain classrooms? I said, this is the guy I got to talk to. This is what our future, what this next generation, Generation Z or Generation A, whatever it's going to be in that time frame, this is what is coming, which is great. We've turned the corner in society, I believe, and now we're moving towards a pro-America, America First type agenda where we stand up for the people that stand up for us, where we honor our traditions of a nation, and we hold people accountable to their own rules. Because as you'll see, this issue isn't just an issue that one young man brought up and said, hey, why aren't there flags in here? Hey, he said, hey, there's supposed to be flags in here according to your own laws and legislations. And we'll get into that in just a second. But without further ado, I'd like to bring in the young man that many people have come to know now. His name is Parker Jensen. Parker, welcome. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, thank you for standing up and doing what you did. When I was 17 or 18, I'm not sure exactly your age, but I couldn't have imagined, standing up. I did some stuff, but what you did was very brave and cutting edge. And what I mean by that is many people would notice it. If they do notice it, they probably still wouldn't say anything. So what happened to make you step up and even ask that question about why flags weren't in those classrooms?
I mean, I always came from a patriotic family. My grandfather served, and a lot of my other family members have been in the military. And I mean, just in general, I was raised in a very patriotic household, true to traditions and all that stuff. So, I mean, when I noticed it, I looked it up and I noticed that it wasn't law. So I just I brought it to my administration and, because I mean, the whole thing comes down to the reason that we have American flags is because people fight for those American flags. They fight for our traditions. They fight for our freedoms. And it's not right for a public institution, like a government institution funded by the public, to not follow their own laws set by Maryland legislators, but also it's just disrespectful to those who fought for us. So
right, and you come from a military family. I know you have ambitions of possibly being in the military as well, and I thank you for that effort to want to serve. And if I remember right, it was a vice principal named Mr. Stevens that you first went to and addressed that and asked that question. What was the response when you went to him?
So when I originally went to him in February, he said that he'd look into the issue, and then 2 weeks later, around March 14th, I went back to him and brought it up again. And he said that they were still looking into it. And then on March 28th, which was when I went to the Board of Education, there still weren't flags. So that's why I went to the Board of Education. And, the rest is on YouTube, I guess.
So. Yeah. So I'm going to show the quick video of the local Fox, actually, that you went to and basically pushed your story. And this is how it kind of got rolling. So let's
Parker Jensen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A senior and prospective U.S. Marine.
Yes, sir.
Noticed something that concerned him at his high school that violates state law.
So I'm only in 2 classes, but both of my classes do not have American flags.
Jensen took his concerns to the Baltimore County Board of Education.
I was looking to speak to a supervisor of some sort that regulates Baltimore County public schools.
Instead of speaking with someone,
3 cop cars for a kid.
The school system called the police and suspended him for 7 days.
You're actually suspended from the school. He used to be with this in the department.
Now,
do you believe Jensen's constitutional rights were violated?
Absolutely.
He has hired an attorney to fight back.
He did nothing wrong besides try to bring forth his First Amendment right and really enforce a Maryland law, which is to have American flags in every single classroom.
So when you did that, did you think that it would take off and actually become a national story?
No, not at all. Quite frankly, I just thought it would be a pretty local thing. It was pretty cool. I got noticed in front of the Wawa, in front of my recruiting station, which was pretty cool. Nice lady came up to me and
I'm sorry. Yeah, I will say Wawa I'll give you a free shout out for Wawa, because Wawa has actually been very patriotic for a lot of things that I have done with backing the police and law enforcement families. So local Wawa has been great.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you say that. So when you did that story though, for I think it's Chris Papps at Fox 45. Did he mention that he thought the story might take off, go national, or anything?
He didn't really mention it, but I mean, he did mention if that there would be some other news outlets reaching out to me.
Right.
He did mention that. So I mean, it was definitely, it's a possibility because it's an American flag. So, and we're all under the same. Yeah, if it was Maryland, I'd say maybe, but if it's an American flag, definitely.
Of course. Now, when I saw the story and I said, this is something that was very exciting to me and something that needed to be addressed, my first thought was, where is the legislation or where's the code that this actually happens? And you provided it to me, actually. And it says here, according to Baltimore County School Board Policy 6307 and the Maryland Education Code 7-105, an American flag must be displayed in each classroom. Now, when I saw that, I went to some of the people, obviously, right away in my circle that actually work for the school board, and they did agree, yes, that should be happening. Can you speculate on why in these certain classrooms they were given flags prior to every school year, yet they didn't put them up in these classrooms? Any idea why?
So, I mean, yeah, so every classroom is up to code at the beginning of the school year with all the necessary requirements. And I believe that I don't want to speculate or anything, it's
Okay.
assumed, but I believe that it's because of the election that some teachers felt that maybe their idea of what America is now, or quote unquote is now, isn't stand for, even though their classroom, well, yes, it's theirs, it's our classroom as well. It's the student's classroom. Right. So, I think maybe, I don't know, man. Some people just hate America, I guess. And it's not right, especially because they're funded by the taxpayers. We pay their paychecks. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I'll do the speculation for you, because many see it and we think it's disrespectful. And it's a way to say the America that is traditional and the America that made this world a much better place is antithetical to what they want it to be. And they don't show it. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but it's their responsibility to do that. So, in your generation, do you feel like there is a more pro-America value than what you might say in the millennial generation?
I would say that it's kind of a mix, like a 50-50. I think some people are rooted in the grounds of American and patriotism and, liberty. And then I'd say the other 50% are the people who want to fund foreign wars and not put Americans first. They're not, too keen on government efficiency when it's our taxpayers' money. But that's a whole nother thing I could get into for a long time. So.
Well, you were quarterback and a kicker at Towson High. Towson is in Baltimore County. It's the capital of the county, in a sense, the county seat, just north of Baltimore City. And Towson is my alma mater for the university. And it's been changing, and I'm glad that there's still people like you that are going up through the ranks and actually standing up for what is right. And again, your story, it got so big that it got onto national Fox. And I saw last week Trace Gallagher happened to be watching. I was like, oh, there's Parker. And I took a couple pictures here, and I saw you clean up pretty well. So looking good there. And then, of course, another picture with the Fox team right there. Kevin Cork is a good friend of mine, by the way. So he happened to be on there. You'll have a friend for life, and you'll have an outlet to get your story across if, God forbid, anything like this happens again. Right. But I want to tell you that you got a good family. You got a good head on your shoulders. I think you're going to go places. And people like myself, old enough to be your father, but we are proud to have someone like you out there. What would you like to say, lastly, about the situation where you did get suspended? And I know that there's an issue with prom because of this. You might not be able to go to prom. Can you talk on that?
Yeah, sure. So the suspension that they got me with is a Category 2 and a Category 1 offense. And with their contract or like the rules for attending dances and like extracurricular activities, if you have a Category 2 or Category 3 offense throughout the school year, you cannot attend any. So with that suspension, it kind of just kicked me off the list for prom. That's kind of why I'm suing. So to get that expunged from my record. And then also just like a final thought for other people, it's like don't be afraid to speak up and like hold the government accountable. Because at the end of the day, we the people, and you shouldn't feel like your voice has to get suppressed just because they're in a position of power when we're the ones who put them in that position of power. So
Right.
just have
When yeah, go ahead.
so just like just don't be afraid, Just
I have children roughly your age and a little younger, and I'm sure your parents probably might have said the same thing. It's those teachers work for you.
exactly.
So we don't go to that school because we are the subordinates. We do follow the order, but those teachers work for you, and it's their job to educate you and rear you in the proper way. So I'm calling on the Board of Education of Baltimore County to do the right thing. Let this young man go to prom, clean his record. He did your job for you and bringing this to national attention. You know what? I mean, any parent out there would rather have a Parker Jensen as their son or their daughter's boyfriend than someone like Carmelo Anthony. And we saw that issue going on in Texas. You know, this is what we're looking for in the next generation. And I thank you for that. Any final thoughts on this whole subject?
Just keep being patriotic. I mean, the flag means something, and it represents all the people who fought and served for it.
That's right. That's all right. Well, Parker, thank you for your time and best of luck in the future. And I'm sure you'll be going places. Take care.